People aren't walking out with what they plan to buy right now. And it's happening everywhere. You've seen it or you felt it. That moment at the counter where something's not exactly what you came in for, but you're already there, already deciding. And starting over feels worse than just committing. I kept noticing it. Different shops, different people, with the same pause, same last question, same quiet switch before the card hits the machine. So I stopped listening to what people say they like and started watching what they actually pay for. And that's when the pattern showed up. Same names, same boxes leaving the counter. July's not even over, and it's already obvious what's leading sales right now. These are the handguns people are actually buying right now. And yeah, some of these choices make sense, some don't. Under 400, something I can actually carry every day. He didn't even finish the sentence before the Taurus GX4 Carry hit the glass. No pause, no second option. Just there. That told me more than anything he said. I was standing right there when it happened. He picked it up, turned it once, asked something about reliability, didn't sound fully convinced, and still nodded like the decision was already made. Card out. Done. And it didn't stop there. Same gun kept showing up. Different people, different reasons. Appendix carry, backup piece, optics ready on a budget. Nobody came in asking for it. They kept leaving with it. After seeing it enough times, it wasn't random anymore. This thing is hitting a very specific window right now. Cheap enough to grab without thinking twice, small enough to actually carry, and just modern enough that it doesn't feel like a compromise. And yeah, that surprised me. Because Taurus still carries baggage, I've seen enough to not ignore that. So every time I see another GX4 go out the door, there's still that question sitting there. What happens when the round count climbs? Right now, though, buyers aren't thinking that far ahead. They're solving today's problem. That tells you exactly where buyers are right now. Price and carry come first. Everything else gets pushed down the line. And this checks that box just well enough to keep moving. I'm just not convinced it holds up once that problem changes. Later, I walked into an indoor range, and before I even checked in, I heard it twice. Y'all got the Rival to rent? Not, what do you recommend? Just a name like everybody already agreed. And it wasn't sitting there waiting. It stayed checked out. One guy hovered near the rental desk. Another kept staring at the door every time someone came back with a case. People treated that rental like the step right before the purchase. They weren't testing it to decide. They were confirming what they already wanted. When it finally landed in my hands, I didn't give it a warm-up. Cold start. One mag. Fast strings. The kind of a quick run where you find out if a gun settles, or if you're only excited because the room told you to be. It settled. It felt like it took decisions out of the process, and I saw why it kept pulling people in. That's the part that matters in July. This isn't a gun people are settling for. It's a gun they're walking in and asking for by name. And once they shoot it, the conversation usually ends. No long debate, no, maybe I should look at something else. Just the quiet decision to buy. It keeps moving for a reason. Right now, the Rival is one of the easiest yeses in the building. And that tells you something about where buyers are in July 2026. And the next one shows what buyers are willing to pay extra for right now. I ran into Mike, a guy I've known for years, in the parking lot after a meetup. He looked serious. Pulled out his new SIG P365 X Macro and handed it to me without saying much. Tell me if I'm tripping or if this is actually worth it. I felt the macro grip, dropped the 17-round flush mag. He watched me closely. Then he opened up how he was done feeling undergunned on carry, how every other micro left him compromising. 10 minutes later, he was still talking about it, like he'd already made peace with the purchase. That wasn't a one-off. Lately, the X Macro has been showing up more and more. Not with casual buyers, but with experienced carriers who know exactly what they're looking for. The market is clearly moving toward it. People are willing to pay the premium because it solves the capacity versus concealment problem better than most guns in its class right now. I'm seeing real buyer confidence. They're not just buying, they're switching. But I'm still sitting on some doubt. SIGs pushed a lot of versions fast. I still remember the early hiccups. So even with the confidence I'm seeing now, I'm watching how this holds up over time. Right now, the X Macro looks like the answer for buyers who are tired of choosing between tiny carry and real confidence. I'm just waiting to see if the market still feels that way once the excitement wears off. June turned into a Hellcat Pro wave. Walk into any shop and it felt the same. Stacks on the floor, clerks already reaching for it. Customers pointing before they even touched the glass. The decision looked made before the gun ever hit their hand. Nobody was talking about how it shot. It was capacity, size. Everyone's buying it. That was enough. And once I noticed it, I couldn't unsee it. When people weren't sure what to pick, they kept landing on the Hellcat Pro like it was the safe answer. That part didn't sit right, so I took one out on a pack Saturday range. Didn't take long. The Hellcat Pro snaps harder than people expect. It wants a firm grip, clean control, no hesitation, gets sloppy, and it shows up fast. Shots dipping, timing breaking, confidence dropping magazine by magazine. And I watched it happen on both sides of me. Brand new owners fighting the gun they just bought, while it kept running like nothing was wrong. That contrast sticks with you, because those best-selling numbers, they don't measure control, they measure demand. And right now, that demand is being driven by what looks safe on paper. Before a lot of buyers understand what it asks from their hands, it's easy to pick, not as easy to run. Next one sells even when nobody has anything hanging on a peg for it. A few hours before I sat down to make this video, a buddy texted me, "Steve, any chance you can find me an HKCC9? Everywhere is out, or they're telling me 2 to 3 months." That got my attention. When I finally saw one in person, the guy behind the counter told me they had a waiting list of almost 20 people for the next shipment. People aren't just walking past the CC9 because it's boring. They're waiting on it because it has HK on the slide, and that still means something to a certain kind of buyer. The scarcity is actually making it hotter. It's not casual buyers chasing it. It's serious carriers who are willing to wait months for that HK reputation in a compact, optics-ready package. The demand is real and stubborn right now, but here's what I'm thinking. HK has always been premium, but they've struggled to keep popular models in stock before. So even though buyer confidence is high and people are willing to wait, I'm wondering, is this gun actually worth the hype and the wait as it becomes easier to get? Or is some of this demand coming from the hard to get factor? Right now, the CC9 isn't just selling because people can get it. It's selling because people can't. And that tells you how strong HK trust still is. Ever seen a man pick up a compact pistol and suddenly get quiet because his favorite gun just lost its excuse? That kind of moment's got Shadow 2 Compact stamped all over it. The Shadow 2 Compact doesn't ask for your approval. It just shows up on the line and makes half the polymer gun sing something. Steel frame, real weight, a trigger that doesn't need explaining, and a shooting feel that talking when it starts running. I used to think the steel frame era was over. Then I kept seeing the same thing happen in 2026. Dealers who used to keep these in the back are now putting them on the front counter. Guys who swore by their light striker guns, and suddenly their modern favorites started feeling broken, just smaller, quieter, less certain. I've seen guys start bringing this more and quietly stop bringing what they used to trust. It never needed a big launch moment. It never needed a campaign. It just kept showing up to people who actually care about how a gun behaves or is running, and the ego is on the line. This year, the Shadow 2 Compact is still doing the same quiet damage. Not by screaming, not by promising, just by being harder to shoot against than most people want to admit. And when the round counts get real, and every week, like clockwork, it's the same line. Just give me a Glock 19. No back and forth, no comparing options. The Gen 5 hits the counter before anything else even gets mentioned. That tells you everything. The Glock 19 isn't being sold right now. It's being requested, and it's not loud about it either. No hype wave, no sudden spike. It just keeps moving. Steady, predictable, almost boring if you're not paying attention. New buyers walk in and land on it without overthinking. Guys who've been around for years don't move off it. Even to people running other setups still keep one close. That kind of consistency doesn't happen by accident. At some point, it stopped being a choice and turned into the default answer. You don't hear long explanations with this one. Nobody's trying to justify it. It just runs, it's familiar, and it removes variables people don't want to deal with. Now, if you watch long enough, you do notice something. A lot of these don't get pushed hard. Some end up sitting more than they should. That safe choice label cuts both ways. But that doesn't slow it down. Because this isn't about excitement. It's about certainty. And right now, this is what consistency looks like in the market. The next one doesn't rely on consistency at all. It earns attention a different way. You'd see it sitting in the wrong spot. Up front, next to range bags, discounted optics, random sale tags. The Walther PDP Compact didn't look loud sitting there. No crowd around it. No one asking for it by name. But every time someone actually picked it up, the conversation changed. They'd feel the grip, pause a second longer than they expected, glance at the price, and then stay there. Not rushed, not random, just locked in. That's where it started shifting. Because once it left the counter, it didn't act like anything it was sitting next to. The PDP Compact locks in harder than it should. The grip bites, the trigger breaks, cleaner than anything around it, and the sights track flatter than you expect from something in that position. It doesn't feel like a deal. It feels misplaced. And you start noticing it, other people having the same reaction without saying a word. Looking down at their targets like something didn't add up in a good way. This wasn't a gun people always walked in chasing. But once it got in their hands, it didn't need help. And once that happens, you start noticing something else entirely. Not what's easy to grab, what people wait for. That's a lot of gun. Who actually needs all that? Just get a 19. You hear it every time the FN 509 Tactical hits the counter. Nobody's quiet about this one. And that's the point. Because the people buying it, they're not new, they're not confused. Most of them already have something solid sitting at home and still reach for this. Threaded barrel, full grip, optics ready. It's not subtle. It doesn't try to be. And every time one leaves the counter, somebody nearby has something to say about it. The pushback is constant. The buyers don't care. I watched one guy stand there for almost 20 minutes, already owned a P365, already had a Glock 19. Clerk asked what he was stuck on. He didn't even hesitate. I'm tired of feeling underbuilt. Guy next to him laughed. Didn't matter. A week later, I ran one hard, dot up, fast strings, no easing into it, and it clicked immediately. Not because it was smoother, not because it was easier, because it felt like there was nothing being held back. That's what's driving this. Right now, this thing is selling to people who are done with good enough. They want more gun than they need. On purpose. That tells you exactly where part of the market is right now. Some buyers aren't downsizing anymore. They're stepping up. And yeah, people are still arguing about it. But once someone decides to go this direction, those arguments don't carry much weight anymore. And what's sitting at number 1? Nobody's arguing about that one. By the time I hit the last shop that month, I was done listening. Every counter sounded the same. One guy pushing capacity, another warning about recoil, someone else swearing their pick was the only smart one. Too many answers, none of them quiet. Then the Smith & Wesson M&P9 M2.0 Compact came up, and it just stopped. No pitch, no explanation. The owner didn't lean in, didn't sell it, just nodded toward the empty space in the case. That one keeps leaving. That was it. And I watched it happen. Guy walks in already worn out, been through the videos, the opinions, the back and forth, picks up a few options, sets them down, circles back, and lands on the M&P. No grin, no second guessing, just done. That's what this is. It's not excitement. It's not hype. It's the moment the decision pressure shuts off. After everything, after the compromises, the debates, the surprises, the overthinking, this is where it lands. Because right now, buyers aren't trying to win the argument anymore. They're trying to end it. And this is what that looks like. Not perfect, not flashy. Almost too normal if you're still trying to impress someone. But maybe that's the shift. The loudest gun doesn't win. The one you don't have to defend anymore does. That's where the money's going. Not what people say. Not what they argue about. What they actually paid for. And that problem from the start, it didn't go away. It just moved to you. So, when you're standing there about to spend, what are you really choosing? What are you passing on? Even if it's what you wanted, and which one are you walking out with? Even if it wasn't the plan. Some of these make perfect sense. Some don't, because I'll say it straight. Some of these are winning right now, and I still don't like what that says. One of them? I wouldn't pick it the same way the market clearly is. But people keep buying it anyway. What almost made you pull the trigger, but didn't? What did you buy? Then question later. I'm Steve, and a lot of people aren't leaving with what they expected.